Guys, hi, Johanna Huber here from PhysioYoga Cork. I have a short sequence for you with PhysioYoga exercises to help you for stiffness or pain in the low back or in the hips, especially for those that are sitting all day. And the first one, I'll show you from the side. Your muscles gonna get tight during the day and painful because you're not moving them often enough. So the first thing is really getting the low back moving. So start to arch your low back and then bend it. So you're rolling forward, you're arching, and then you're bending back, letting the hips move back again. So see how this goes, moving a few times forward and back, rolling from one to the other, taking a few pelvic tilts. And you might not be able to go really far in the beginning. Don't you worry about this, that's quite fine, because the less you move during the day, the stiffer you are, and the more it might take you just to get back into a bit of mobility. So do as much as you can. And then the next one, just to show you from the front again, because you'll see me a bit better. Start to lift one hip off the ground, so bum cheek is lifting off the chair, and then release, and then the other side. So you're starting tensing the muscles on the side, you're relaxing them, you're lifting again, you're relaxing again. Doing this a couple of times, just a bit of a funny rock from side to side, just to get the side muscles working, because if you get them active again, if you get them to switch on again and remind them of that they're still there, then they will start to let go of the tension and the pain. Something for the hips that is quite nice and helpful here is bring your ankle onto your knee, and you don't even need the hands. Just press the knee down towards the ground and see how this goes. So you're using your glute muscles now, activating, switching on the muscles to create a bit more mobility in the hip. And then relax the knee and try that arch in the low back again. So you're straightening, you're arching your low back, and this will give you a much better stretch in the hip and in the low back. Just stay there for a breath or two, or for as long as it feels comfortable. And then change over sides. So the right ankle onto the left knee. Try to press the knee down first towards the ground. So hands off. You're only using your hip muscles. Because again, if you're sitting all day on your glute, on your hip muscles, this is why they feel really tense, really sore. They need a bit more action. They need a bit more blood circulation. So by using actually your hips now, doing that motion, you get the mobility, you get a bit of a stretch, but you also start activating the muscles. And then relax. Add a bit more stretch by arching the low back, by reaching the hips forward, just to feel a bit more stretch in the right side of the bum, around the hip, the low back area. Take a breath or two again, and you only go as deep as it feels comfortable, as it feels okay for you, obviously. The last one, because you're sitting a lot with the hips bent, and this causes the hip flexor to tighten quite a lot. So we're going to open them. So I'll move to the side. It might be nice for you to have something to hold on to here. And all I'm gonna do is step my right leg back. So now this might not work very well if you've been sitting all day in this position, and all the way moving back like this might really feel like tense or restricting you. That's quite normal, obviously. So only go as far back as it feels okay for your hip. And then try to make this a bit more active. So again, inviting a few more muscles into that work. Try to push your hip forward. And then try to push the heel back a little bit more. So the hip and the heel are trying to move into opposite directions, which will just make that stretch a bit stronger and uses your own muscles. Just waking up the muscles at the same time as you're allowing the hip to relax and to stretch and to move into the opposite direction of what you're usually doing all day. And then change sides. And you can do this on any chair, on your office chair, maybe even on the desk if your chair doesn't or isn't suitable. Again, instead of just moving that leg back and opening my hip, which will make me lose the stretch, try to keep the hip reaching forward and then move the leg back. Again, there's a bit of a fight going on between hips and heels. The hip wants to move forward, the heel wants to move back, which will make that area really strong, using your muscles, but at the same time giving you that good bit of a stretch deep in the hip and in the front of the thigh. Stay for a breath or two, and you can stay in those stretches a few breaths longer if it feels good, and repeat them a couple of times throughout the day. Because the most important thing for you is if you start getting stiff or pain in the low back and the hip area, and you haven't been moving all day, all your body needs is a bit more motion, and the minute you start moving, usually that pain, that discomfort, that tension disappears. See how you're getting on. I hope it helps. Bye, guys.